Alright, something different today. I got a can of Aerosol here, and it's out of air. It still has some. I don't know if you hear that. It's out of air, but it still has some fluid in there. So this stuff isn't cheap. I think it's like 20 bucks. Well, this is actually a 13-ounce can, so that might be 25 bucks. I don't know, but anyway, it pushed the nozzle down, and it's out of air. So I'll show you how to put air back in there, and then I'm also going to show you how to put a nipple on there so you can actually refill this thing. All right, let me get some things out here, and we'll show you how to put some air back in there. All right, what you're going to need is a valve stem, probably like this, but I got one right here. I'm probably going to use this one because I'm going to cut this off and use this for the nozzle later on. But let me show you something here. All valve stems aren't created equal. Let me get that out of the way. Like this one here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little brass. That's the end of this thing. And if you stick this in there and measure it, that brass thing is only a 1/4 inch in. So I could actually use that one the way it is. But if you take this one, this brass nozzle is actually a 1/2 inch in. So what you would have to do is cut a 1/4 inch of that rubber off of there, and then you'd be able to use that. But like I said, I'm going to use this one, and I'll show you how you can tell if it's any good. Here's a can that's full, and what happens is when you push down, you're going to have to put this on there and push down, and that little rubber is going to put a seal around the base here. But you can actually tell if you look, and there's a space. I was looking at it, and there's a space. But if you push down, and like I say, this is a full can, and something comes out like that, then you know you're going to be okay. Alright, let me get this out of the way, and then we'll put air in this can. You know what? Let me clean this off. This must have been sitting next to the vise, and all grinding dust is on it. So let me clean this can off, and we'll put some air in it. Alright, we'll clean this out. This is it's all clean now, so it's not a different can. You see I push down, there's still no air. No tricks here. So now what you do is, we're going to take this, because this is the one that worked, and put it on here, and push it all the way down, and then just fill with air. That should be enough. Yeah, I only keep like 110 pounds in mine. These cans are probably good for 80 to 110 pounds or so. But anyway, let's see if it works. Let me go get a bottle so we can squirt it in there. Got a Snapple bottle here. Guys, remember what to call that? That's right, oil canning. Alright, let's see here. There you go. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, there we go. Anyway, almost empty. And when you do empty these, or when you're spraying anything, there's a straw that goes in there, a piece of plastic straw, and it sits in the corners. So if you find out which corner it's in, you find out by turning the bottle or the can, and then look, it's still coming out. That way you can make sure you get it all. Look at that, we would have wasted all of that. $1 an ounce. Actually more than that. It's 13 ounces, 20 bucks. Still coming out. Alright, let me empty this can. I won't waste your time. But look at that. Can you see all that in there? Oy, oy, oy. I can't turn it so you guys can see it, but there's a lot in there. Alright, I brought you guys down off the tripod so you can look at this. Look how much fluid was left in there. Let me get the measuring stick here. That's about 3/4 of an inch. You know, I know the bottle has a little thickness on the bottom and stuff like that, but it doesn't sound like much, you know, 3/4 of an inch. But then if you consider that these cans are probably only full, half full, and then the rest of it's probably full of air. If it even has, fluid in it halfway. So I don't know. So you're losing a lot of stuff there. All right, let's continue on, and I'll show you how we're going to put this nozzle in the bottom. I'm going to stick mine in the bottom. Let me bring this up here. Let me carry up here. All right, you still with me? Yeah. Some guys put them in the side here. Some put them in the side of the can. But I'm going to put mine in the bottom, and I'll show you why. And this isn't my idea. You know, don't give me credit for this. You know, if you go into any body shop, any mechanic shop, somebody's done it. You know, put a nozzle in a can so they can keep reusing it. I've seen them welded on, glued on, epoxied on, soldered on, which is what I'm going to do, solder it on, and even screwed on. You know, I've seen guys tap the can, expect that to stay in there, but like I say, it's not my idea, but we're going to do it anyway. Alright, I'll put you back in the tripod. Alright, let me show you what the inside of the can looks like. I'm going to do this upside down. Alright, now here's what the bottom is shaped like. And here's the nozzle up here. Anyway, there's a straw that comes down here and goes into this little crevice down here. That's why I say you gotta rotate that, find out exactly where it is to empty it completely. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our nozzle right down here so we can fill it. Okay. Alright, there's no air left in here. No air or liquid. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to drill a hole right about there, right in the center. And I'm going to cut this off right about here, I guess about 1/4 inch. Doesn't matter as long as it's below the threads. But before I do that, I'm going to find out how big a hole we need. Alright, you're going to look at this upside down, so unless I turn it like this, right? I don't know how well you can see that. It comes to point 297. That's about 19/64. So, I'm not going to drill that hole. I'm going to drill the bit underneath it. The smaller size is probably 9/32, and then I'll drill that hole and then we'll ream it because I want that to be a tight fit, so it'll stay in place while I solder it. And before I even drill a hole, I'm gonna get a little Dremel and I'm gonna clean this up a little bit because most stuff has a coating on there, and this is no exception. This probably has some kind of coating to keep it from rusting. So that'll, if I get that little coating off, it'll help the solder adhere. All right, let me get set up. All right, I cut this off and then I cleaned it. You want this stuff clean because oxidation. Any plumber will tell you get the oxidation off. And I just use this extender here to hold it. So that's all clean. That's all ready to go. That'll just help me hold it. And this here, I punctured a little hole in there to let whatever air was left, and there wasn't any really. So now what I'm doing is just roughing it up. Alright, that should be plenty. The reason I didn't drill a hole first, that way all that dust wouldn't go in there. I don't think anything went in there because of that little hole, but alright, let's get some drills out. Alright, got our 9/32 hole in there, so this doesn't fit in there yet. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some lacquer thinner in there, shake it around, and clean it all out. You know, get rid of all the Aerosol because that's flammable. And then once I get all that out, I'm going to put the water in there and shake that and blow it all out and make it so that there's nothing in there. But while you got this out, look in there. I used my light, and I was able to find out where that straw goes. And you want to mark that out. That's very important, and we'll show you why later. But that hose, that plastic line comes down and goes right into this corner, right where I have it marked. Alright, let me clean this out and we'll get back to you. Alright, I cleaned it out with lacquer thinner, so it's real clean in there now. Now what I'm doing is I'm reaming it out. I got a ream here. You guys don't have to do this. I mean, you guys can do what you want. So I'm just doing a little bit at a time because, like I said, I want that as tight as possible. And it's just about there. You see where it's holding it? You see it's actually holding it. So I'm gonna put that in right up to about the threads, because then it'll be below this. You got a 1/2 inch to play with here. So I'm gonna bring that all the way down to the threads, and then we're gonna fill it with water. That's why I marked that where that was. I'm gonna solder it sideways and fill it up to water about here, and that way that plastic hose won't get hot and melt. If you guys put it in the top here, what some guys do is they fill this with water, this little centerpiece, fill out with water, so that plastic don't melt. I seen one guy that didn't put water in there and it did melt, so he wasted a can. So let me put this in and send that down where I want it, and then we'll fill it with water and then solder it. Alright, let's put a little flux on there. And I want to make sure I don't move that, even though it is pretty tight. I would prefer doing this standing up, but that's where that mark is. I got it filled up with water almost halfway. Alright, let's see how it works. It should work, should be alright. I hope I got enough gas here. Did it. I should have did it. Don't take much. Alright, let that cool and then we'll give it a look-see. Okay, it actually came out pretty good. There's a nice little pool around there of solder, and it actually wicked itself up the threads because I had some flux on there, but that's okay. In that case, you can hit that with a wire wheel, a small wire wheel on a Dremel, and it'll get rid of that solder. Or you can actually get one of these tools and spin that on there, and that's probably what I'll do. I'll just I'll recut that. I'll get the solder out of the way. You know, that's only for a cap. You don't really need a cap, but anyway, that's what I'll do. You can actually see it getting the solder out of the way there now. So now I'm going to get all the water out of here, and we can put this valve in there. There are a couple of advantages and disadvantages of putting the valve on the bottom. When you put the valve on the bottom, if you get any kind of leak, you know, sometimes these valve stems leak, but very rare. I've never had one leak. If it does leak, you know, and you have a cap on there, you're okay, but you lose a little material. But if you have it up top here and it leaks, it'll just leak air out. But then another advantage is up here, if the valve fails and this comes shooting out at you, it's going to put out an eye. And if it fails down here and something shoots out, you're just going to get a sore toe. So let me get some of this water out. We're not going to get it all out, but what I'll do, I'll fill it up and then we'll squirt it out the top. Alright, I put the valve stem in there and then put a little bit of air in there. And don't forget, we marked where the bottom of our hose was, so I'm going to tilt it in that direction, and I'm going to get rid of this all water. Get rid of all the water that's in there. Well, I just touch that with the air hose a little bit and that much air is still in there. Wow. Well, let me get this water out of here and I'll turn you back on. Let's just waste your time watching this, eh? Alright, just about empty now. Okay, so there's really nothing in there now. Alright, now I'm gonna let all the rest of the air out and then take the valve stem out of the bottom. Alright, before I fill that, let's address the elephant in the room here, because everybody's gonna say, oh, I don't know why you buy that Aerosol PB blaster works and transmission fluid and acetate, and you know, everybody's got, you know, I've used them all. I've been around a long time, used them all. They all work, and some of them don't work, you know, but it's not because they're not good. It's just because even on this silicone here, I don't know if you can focus in there, it says right here, it says creeps into openings as small as a millionth of an inch. If you don't have that millionth of an inch for anything to seep into, nothing's going to work. So I got a gallon of this stuff here. This stuff's worth about $120 a gallon, and I picked it up at a flea market for $5. I bought it off a friend, you know, and I know it was the real stuff, you know, because if you guys buy an open can of anything at a flea market, it could be full of PP for all you know. But anyway, I've been using this stuff for years. I like it, like the smell of it, you know. I got more of it over there. Here's another one I use too. It's a BG. This is for professional use only, so some of you newer guys, you can't use that yet. But like I say, I've used it all, and everybody's going to, you know, all the funny guys are going to say, I should use this, I should use that, and, you know, hey, this is what I use, and this is what I've been using, so. I also use PB Blaster. It's all there, you know. Like I say, it all works. It's either going to work or it's not. So let's fill this up. And, you know, the guy had 2 cans of these, and I only took 1, and this should last me the rest of my life. But I'm almost sorry I didn't buy the other gallon. You know, it was cheap enough. Alright, let's fill it up. What I'm doing is, what I'm going to fill it up with is I got this, almost looks like a ketchup bottle, a little squeezy bottle. So, you know what? While we're here, might as well put the rest of the stuff we juiced out of the other one. And we'll mix it in. Yeah, that silicone is the same stuff. Only thing is it has silicone in it. You know, it's a lubricant. It's penetrant and a lubricant. So it's actually better than the regular stuff. So I think this will be plenty for that can. Probably too much. But we'll see. Maybe I'll only put a half. Maybe I'll only put a little bit in. Alright, to fill it now, you just take the valve out. You know, here's one of them valve caps with the thing on it. Or you can use one of these. That'll take it out too. That's probably what I'll wind up using all the time. But anyway, you just, well, you can hear it leaking. I got most of the air out, but it's like anything. Even when you take a tire apart, you always get that little bit of air left. Okay. Now, you just take your fluid here and you stick it in and let it go to 10. You see the air bubbles? If you could lift it just a little bit. There you go, I can hear it. I don't know if you can see it. Like I say, I'm not going to put this whole thing in there. Maybe we'll put about 3/4 of it in. And I'll turn these back on. Alright, I filled it with this whole ketchup bottle here. And I'll tell you why, because I was feeling the weight of that, and then I was feeling the weight of this other one that I thought was a full can. And they felt close, you know. Matter of fact, it felt a little lighter, so I said, okay, that's okay. So I got it set on ounces. It's actually 10.8, almost 11 ounces. And here's the one that I thought was full. That's 13.7 ounces. So still, that whole ketchup bottle isn't even as much as it comes in original, so that's good. And then here's one that has never been used, and that's 16.5 ounces. So I'm happy. I'll fill it. I'll always fill it with the ketchup bottle there, and or mustard. Let's call it mustard, and we should be okay. Let's shoot some air in there and see how it works. All right, got plenty of juice in there. Got the valve stem back in. I got about 100 pounds in the big compressor there, so this is only going to take a little burp. But when you do this, make sure you got the can standing up like this, or else you'll get fluid backing up on you. So, like I say, you should really pump this in with a hand pump, but I got the big compressor hooked up, so this will just take a little burp. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, see if it works. Yeah, going to need a little more. Alright, I heard it that time. You see? That's plenty of air pressure. I can sit here the rest of the day and do that. So there you go. You fill your own, you can put anything in there. You can buy the stuff by the gallon instead of by the can and save a lot of money. So, I'll leave a link in the description for you guys, whoever wants to buy Aerosol, because some people like that stuff. And I'll leave a link here to the light, because a couple guys asked me about that. So, and there you go. Some of you guys try this thing out. I'm going to put a cap on this. And that way, if it does ever leak, you know, it'll go into the cap. So, alright, what do you say? Enough of this? Alright, later.